Let's go to your many, many questions. Cindy, Nate, great interview. You certainly asked the tough questions. Thank you. This isn't really a question, just a comment as to Tammy Daybell. Yes, the coroner originally claimed Tammy's death was due to natural causes. It's a shame in our country many coroners have no medical knowledge at all. There is a great documentary explaining the coroner versus medical examiner across the U.S. It can vary from county to county, let alone state to state. That is true. Some states have medical examiners who are trained doctors, professionals who go to medical school, who go to have training and extensive experience doing autopsies. Other states like Idaho have a coroner system where really anybody can run for coroner, and maybe you go to a class or two and that's it. If I wanted to, I could run for coroner next election, even though I have no experience with it. Fremont County, Idaho, where the coroner originally was, did declare Lori's death natural causes. The medical examiner in Utah months later then took a look at it and changed that. So that is how the system works. And yeah, it's a interesting system. And maybe one day all of the states will move more toward an ME type thing. Iris says, my question is, what movie did Lori want you to watch? I caught the arc. Lori is such a fast talker. She is a fast talker. She wanted me to watch Evan Almighty. It's about a reporter played by Steve Carell, a news anchor who leaves the anchor desk and becomes a politician and is called by God. God shows up one day and says, you need to build an ark and prepare for a flood. And Steve Carell resists, and all these things keep happening, like animals keep showing up 2 by 2, and he grows a beard, and all these things happening. And so he finally builds the ark. No one believes him. Nobody will get on the ship. They're making fun of him. They're mocking him. And then it starts to rain, and a dam breaks, and then everybody rushes to the ship. And so I guess Lori was saying that I need to be like that reporter, because she was saying, get on the boat. Nate, a couple questions. Is Lori still married to Chad? Absolutely. Number 2, would you consider Lori a narcissist? She seems very childlike and almost idiotic, nonsensible. Thank you, Nate. Well, let me look up the definition for narcissist. Personality qualities that include thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing others are inferior, and lacking empathy for others. Yeah, I would say she's a narcissist based on that definition. 4 common signs of a narcissist: entitlement, manipulative behavior. A narcissist initially aim to charm and amaze, yet consistently prioritize their own desires. They manipulate and control the conduct. Needing admiration, an unceasing craving for praise and admiration, leading to seeking validation through boasting and exaggeration. That sounds familiar. Lack of empathy. The individual struggles to understand or care about others' emotions, needs, and struggles, hindering their accountability for their actions. Yes, I think that Lori would fit that definition. Dawn, a couple questions I just asked that one. Sorry. Nate, please never interview her again. On X, I commended you for standing up to that disgusting human. It's clear she is an attention-getting, lying, cheating, and disgraceful sinner. It's clear she wants to control you. Don't let her control you ever again. Yeah, thanks for your comment. I can see where you're coming from. I think that, yeah, she does have a lot of those characteristics, so thank you. Nicole and Dave, Nate, would you be arrested for slapping her across the face? I'm sure it crossed your mind. I did. It actually did not cross my mind. But if I did, yes, I'd probably be arrested for assault, and it would be quite a news story. And I really don't want to go to jail. They could keep me there in that jail, I guess. But yeah, no, I didn't think about slapping her. I know when I confronted Chad and Lori in Hawaii, I had a lot of people that are like, dude, we thought Chad was going to punch you. We thought they were going to go after you. And I'm like, well, that would have been a better story, because then we would have had it on video. They could have arrested him right there and held him. So anyway, next we have Kira. Should Lori finish her book or publish it? Can she profit off the sales of her telling the story of her crimes? Well, she can't. There's a Slayer law, and she's not allowed to profit off of her crimes in the state of Idaho. I don't know if Arizona has that. I believe they do. And I don't know a publisher who would take it. I guess she could technically self-publish. She could send the manuscript to someone and they could publish it, but I don't think she would make the money. Nate, Lisa, this is from Lisa. Nate, I'm glad you did the interview. I just wish you would have pushed back more on the kids' burials. Was Chad there? Did she agree to have the kids killed and the adultery? I agree with you, Lisa. I wish I would have pushed back on that. I don't think we would have gotten an honest answer. At least she did say she wasn't there. when the kids were buried. And I have a sense to believe that, but I don't know for sure. Um, was Chad there would have been a great question. And did she agree to have the kids killed? She said she didn't kill anyone and she was not involved in any of them. So I don't know what the answer would be. Hi, Nate. Watched your interview, partly excited to see what you would ask her. On the other hand, she doesn't deserve anything. She's a murderer and she thinks she's a Hollywood actress. When I saw the interview, I thought you'd be in control, but that wasn't the case. As usual, she thinks she's in control of everything. I love your shows. She just gets into the twisted mind that God used her to do this to feel good. All she did was not let you speak so she could say all the religious stuff so she could continue believing she was right. She was afraid, and you could see it in her face, that you wouldn't put her up against the wall. I'll follow your show. Success. Well, thank you. Yeah, there were times I thought I was in control most of the time. Obviously, there were things I would have done differently. And there was issues I wish I would have pushed back more on. And on the other hand, I wanted to get to a lot of topics, and so I wanted to kind of keep it moving. And if it all depends. And yeah, I did let her say a lot of religious stuff. You can see why Dateline cut a lot of the interview out, because it was probably a lot of the similar stuff. But on the other hand, you got to see who she was. We got to see who she was unfiltered for 40 minutes. Theodora, interesting interview. She overpowered you. Can you set ground rules if there is another interview? We will never get the truth out of her. I think you're right on the last statement. We will never get the truth out of her. Ground rules. Yeah, I could. Now that I've had the one interview. If she's like, Nate, come back, I could say, I will only come back if this, and this happen. And we'll see what she says. She's obviously going to want ground rules too. And if I don't agree to them, she could call another reporter. That's kind of her prerogative. Once she gets to Idaho, though, in a few weeks, there's no cameras in the prisons here, and that the allure could wear off. Kathy, why did you let her run the interview? Horrible. How could you let her control the entire narrative? I don't think I did. I don't think I let her control the entire narrative. Run her mouth so long with so much BS. My gosh, you let her control the entire narrative, which was so full of bull. I'm really disappointed she got to spew her ridiculous story for so long. She's ridiculous and full of it. Thank you, Kathy. I don't think I let her control the entire narrative. Otherwise, I just would have let her talk. I had to cut her off multiple times. I had to change the topic multiple times. She came with me. If you were to count up the minutes, and I have not done this, out of the 40 minutes, I think that you would see that we covered a variety of topics. Had I let her control the narrative, we would have spent 10 minutes talking about her birthday. We would have spent the rest of the time talking about God and Jesus. That's all it would have been. And we didn't do that. Chris, what value does she bring to you in your interview? By the way, Nate, you're a big fan of mine and still are. Well, thank you. You're a big fan of mine and still are. Well, thanks. I wonder if you meant I'm a big fan of yours. But I am a big fan of you too. So thank you. What the value? The value for this interview, I would argue, is one, we could show you who Lori Vallow is. We saw her for 40 minutes. You could argue we saw it in court. That's different. Two, no one has ever been able, well, I shouldn't say no one. A few people, very few people have been able to sit and truly ask her the questions and see how she responds. Is there value by putting her on here every night? No. Unless she comes out and confesses and it's true. But there is value somewhat in seeing it. Some of you will say there is absolutely no value. I get what you're saying. I can understand your viewpoint. I would disagree. I would say that there is value in it. It wasn't to get a ton of viewers. It wasn't to make $1 million. Someone said, we're not making $1 million. I'd love, we're not making $1 million. I can tell you that. News does not make money. If I wanted to just solely make a ton of money, I wouldn't have gone into news. My first year as a reporter, I made $18,500. My first year on TV, $8.89 an hour. My second year, I got $1,000 raise. There's not the media. There's not much money. I digress. Anyway, so yeah, I think that there was some value in it. I've had multiple people email me saying thank you for showing this, because I know a person who's following a person who has character traits like Lori, and I'm worried. And I can show them the interview and say the person you're following is just like her. So I hope that somewhere out there someone may have seen this and been like, yeah, I have a close person in my life who messaged me and said something very similar about how they saw this interview and they realized that how horrible it is to be surrounded by a narcissist. Amy, you mentioned the PIO a few times. What is the PIO? My apologies. I should have clarified that. PIO stands for Public Information Officer. They're normally the people who work with the media. They arrange interviews when there's breaking news. We call it PIO. It's someone that deals with the press, that is kind of the go-between between like the officers and the media. So the PIO is the one that helped arranged it. And a lot of people leave news and become PIOs. Rosemary, did you feel the need to take a shower immediately after you were finished interviewing her? More importantly, did you catch that she said, Alex never told me where they put them? That's an admission. Yes, I did catch that Alex said that they were in a safe place. Did I need to take a shower? I did take a shower, and so did Jordan and Erica, because I just felt dirty in the jail. I'm kind of a clean freak. Like I kind of like stuff clean, so I just felt dirty in there, and I did take a shower. How did you feel before, during, and after the interview? Anything changed from your perspective? Oh, that's a big question. Before, I was nervous. I didn't know where it was going to go. I felt I was prepared, but I knew I could never be fully prepared. During the interview, I finally felt comfortable maybe 15, 20 minutes into it, and felt that I could really, you know, this is the first time Lori and I have actually physically spoken. We've texted, but we've never spoken. And so, if I were to do it now after our first interview, I could go on and be like, all right, I'll be much more, firm. And after, I was relieved that it was done. And I felt good about it. I mean, not great, but good. Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 6 or a 7. Nate, do you have an impression that she really believes all she says, or is she just an incredible liar? I think both. I don't know if she believes all she says. I don't think she believes it all. I think she makes it up, but I think she does believe a lot. I'm LDS. It makes me physically sick to listen to her invoke the LDS church and its teachings. She is pure evil. I had a lot of people email me that, saying the same thing, that a lot of what she was saying was not familiar to people that go to church every Sunday at the LDS church. And they hadn't heard these things, and they were upset that she, mentioned that. Who or what does she keep looking to at her left? She was looking at her private investigator, Jeff. Nancy Grace told me yesterday that people look away when they lie. So she thinks she kept looking away because she was lying. But that's what she was looking at. With all due respect, Nate, and I am a big fan of yours, can you not see how she had control of you during the interview? That's from Chris. I don't know if she had control of me. I wasn't sucked in, but maybe it appears that way, that she did have control of it. She definitely is a very domineering personality and wants it her way. What have you learned from the whole saga? Adrian says, you've done such amazing work. Thank you, Adrian. Gosh, I could do a whole Courtroom Insider on what I've learned. One of the things I've learned is that everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a strong opinion. I've also learned about this is a story that for every day for 5 years we could have reported something. There's just so much sensational stuff about it, and we reported a lot of it, but a lot of it we didn't touch on because it was just it was just crazy. And I've learned too that there are vulnerable people out there that get sucked into personalities like Lori. I don't know about Chad. That's the weird thing, though. But Lori, I could see. There's a lot. Let me think about that. Kim says, Nate, how did you keep a straight face while interviewing that nut? I hope this is the last interview anyone does with her. She's evil and a liar. It's hard for me to keep a straight face. Ask my wife. I get a smirk. If you say something ridiculous to me, I'm going to be like, really? Come on. I tend to be a little sarcastic back. I knew I couldn't do that with her. I didn't want it to appear. I did smile when she walked in. I'm a natural smiler. I smile at people. And I really had to kind of keep that in mind, not to smirk. And I think it helped having my wife in the room. Why does Lori still have a paralegal and her investigator now that the trial is over? They are still working with her until she's sentenced. That's Lisa Ann. Liz Ann, sorry. Carrie Ann, I wish you could have asked her about the portal. If she could meet with Chad like she used to claim in a closet in her home, if she can do that from her cell. That is a question I had on my list, Carrie Ann. I just didn't get a chance to ask it. I wish I would have. Also, what was the box of things she carried in the room and set on the table? That was all of her notes. She used to bring that to court every day. She'd bring in a stack of documents, and I didn't know if she was going to bring it out to talk to me about. But after she met with me, she met with her paralegal and with Jeff, her investigator. So Yeah, it's possible that she just held on to those things just to go meet with them. Does anyone visit her in prison? No, she can't have visitors. All visits are done on the app. Does she communicate with creepy sociopath Chad? She said no. Why did Lori want you as a witness in her Arizona trial? Did you get any clarity? I was going to ask her that, but she kind of answered that in court, how she wanted me as a witness to impeach other witnesses, because I've interviewed a lot of people associated with the case, but not in Arizona, which was kind of the weird thing. I haven't interviewed many people in Arizona, but she claimed I had. So she wanted to call me to rebut what they might say. The judge made a point that can't you just show the clips? Can't you just show the videos if that's what you're going to do? So yeah. How flirty did she get with you when beginning the texting relationship? Did she try in her own narcissistic way to charm you? Davey says. I don't know. I don't know if she charmed me. She never asked me for money. She never asked me for anything. She did ask me for music recommendations. She did ask me for movie recommendations. And we chatted. I mean, she was very friendly, maybe flirtatious. I guess you could read it that way. I didn't at all go that way with her. Although one of you emailed me and said, quit your obsession with Lori Daybell and quit giving her M&Ms or something. By the way, she did not get to take the M&Ms. The M&Ms sat out there the entire interview and she looked at them, but she didn't take them. Hi, Nate. I have to ask, this is from Sue. Are you writing a book? If so, release date. I live in Nevada, and after all these years, I watch Secret Santa every year. It's heartwarming, and I'm tearful at the amazing love for both the givers and the deserving recipients. Many blessings. Thank you, Sue. That's nice. We're getting ready for Secret Santa here in a few months. I cannot believe it. Am I writing a book? Oh, probably not. I don't know. What do you think? I've had many people ask. It sounds so tiring. I write for my job every day. So some people like to write to escape and like for fun and stuff. And that used to be me. But like when I get home, I don't want to think about writing. But I don't know. Maybe I will write a book. I mean, I have some topics in my mind, but I don't think anybody would read it, to be honest with you. Jill says, is the interview with Lori one of the most frustrating you've ever conducted? Yes, without a doubt. Probably number one. I'm trying to think. What else? I don't think I've ever been, frustrated. That's an interesting word. Challenging, you could say. And so high profile. No one has ever watched another interview I've done as many times as this. And I wanted to be sure that I did it right and did it fair and was just to all parties. And I wasn't. I know I messed up on some of the things, but would I change anything? I'd change a few things, but ultimately I'm okay with it. I'm from Germany. I'm wondering if you could do a story on what goes on to a court's decision to declare someone competent for trial. Bottom line is there's just two things. You have to understand the charges against you, and you have to be able to assist in your defense. That's it. Lori did both of those things. She knew what she was doing, and that was that. Amanda from Scotland, I'll get a couple more in here. Just wanted to send you a message of support. I can completely understand why you did the interview with Lori. It's just a pity it was so short, which I know was out of your control. I'd love to see you interview Chad if you reached out to him. I would be happy to interview Chad. I think the dynamic with Chad would be completely different than Lori. I wouldn't get a camera in. He's on death row. They're not going to let a camera in for that. I might be able to interview him on the phone or on a video chat. And Chad is not going to be as giggly, as bubbly, as, flirtatious, if that's what you want to call it, as Lori was. So, yeah, I'd be happy to. And thanks for your kind message. I appreciate that. Is she writing a book? Is she allowed to write a book from prison? She says she's writing a book. She can write it. I don't know if it's going to get published or if it's going to be everywhere. According to her, it will be everywhere. I'm so curious. This is, why don't we do two more? Marcy, I'm so curious if Lori knew your wife was there, and if so, did she show a visible reaction or made any comments about her being there? I've always felt like Lori had been dying to try and, quote, win Nate over with her feminine narcissism. That really, quote, crashed her party if she knew your wife was there. She knew Erica was there. I did not say, this is my wife, Erica. I debated introducing her as my wife. I debated introducing Jordan as my cameraman. I wasn't going to introduce either of them simply because we were on a time crunch. But after her paralegal came in and we needed to reset the shot and everything, we had a minute to kill time. And so that's why I introduced them. And I didn't say, this is my wife. And Erica, she didn't really care either way if it was wife or not. But Maybe I should have. I don't see Lori as trying to charm me or win me over other than in a religious aspect, not a romantic aspect. But I don't know. I have no idea. Amanda, final question. Are you planning to keep in touch with Lori long term, or will you end communication with her at some point? I do not see me and Lori being lifelong pen pals. I have not heard from Lori since the interview. I did send her a message thanking her for talking with me, asking if she had any questions, and I haven't heard from her, and it's been over a week, which is kind of unusual, but not really. And that's, how it could be. She could be furious at how it turned out, and I might never hear from her again, or she could message me in 5 minutes and say, "Hey, sorry, my tablet broke." As far as keeping in touch with her, I don't know. I really don't. I am curious about the fact that she said it's not going to be 20 or 30 years. I promise you that. I will prophecy of that. She said something like that, to follow up every year on her birthday and be like, "Lori, it's been year one, year two." But we'll see. I don't know. I haven't thought much about it. I'm not, dying to keep in touch with her. Uh, some people are, I guess. Some people really want to get a hold of her. Anyway, I thank you for watching. I've really enjoyed you being with us every night this week for Courtroom Insider, for supporting East Idaho News, for buying our shirts, for sending nice words, for sending mean words. I've gotten so much hate mail this week. I have more than ever before, but I've gotten so many nice comments, and I gotta tell you, there's times I tell Erica, I'm just going to leave this job and go sell cookies, because then everybody's happy. And she says, no, because you'll burn some and then people will be mad. And she's right. But there are times where, I'll tell you one day, right before this case broke in September of 2019, I was ready to call news quits. But then something good happens. Like last night, there's a street near our house. Every 4th of July, they have a big party. One house gets out hot dogs, one house gets out snow cones, one house gets out popcorn, ice cream bars, watermelon, bottled water. It's a circle. It's a cul-de-sac, and they light fireworks off all night. And we don't live on that street, but they've invited us, and people from other streets show up, and it's just the funnest thing. And we used to go every year, and we haven't gone in several years. But last night, Erica's like, "Do you want to go with the kids?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go. I'll go for a minute. I won't stay long." And we went, and we ended up staying like 2 or 3 hours. It was a lot of fun. And the highlight of the night for me was seeing little Kaio Doxy. Back in 2017, I met Kaio when he was this small, the size of a Coke can. He was born at 24 weeks, 11 inches long, like 438 grams. And I went to the hospital and interviewed his parents and did a story. And that story ended up winning me a big national award, which wasn't the reason why I did it. And I don't say that to brag, but it's a story I've never forgotten. A year later, I followed up when Kaio turned 1. They moved away first to Boise and then to California. And we're at this neighborhood party. Haven't, really heard from his family in years. And I see his parents. They're there. They're back in town for a family reunion. And I went over and I said, "Where's Kaio?" And they went and got him. And he came out, and we took this photo. Cutest little boy. He told me all about how he's turning 8. He turns 8 this week, and he's having a Minecraft party. And I said, "Do you know that I did a story on you? I put you on the news." And I showed it. He wanted to watch the video. I didn't show him the video, but I showed him the photos. And he was the sweetest kid. He gave me a big hug. And it was so amazing to see him 7 years later, 8 years later now, actually, to see baby Kaio doing well. So that was the highlight of my week. After the craziness that I experienced in Maricopa County in the jail, I got to see baby Kaio, now big boy Kaio, surrounded by fireworks and snow cones and popcorn and hot dogs. And I hope that many of you have those delicious foods this weekend as we have the 4th of July. Obviously, I won't be here tomorrow. We'll be off celebrating fireworks, doing helicopter rides on the East Idaho News chopper. If you're at Riverfest, come and say hello. And we'll be back next Thursday for another edition of Courtroom Insider, talking about the Dior Coons case. It's been 10 years since he vanished. I'll let you know if there's any new developments and what is happening with that.